Last topic as far as the Super Bowl is concerned, Lane Johnson went on a very popular podcast, Pardon My Take, which is under the Barstool Sports umbrella.
Fly was fly.
How fucking dare you do that in the middle of me talking? You scumbag. So, Lane Johnson, again, went on the Pardon My Take podcast, which is a very popular production from the Barstool Sports umbrella. And he mentioned that he thinks the Patriot Way is fear-based. He thinks that it's no fun to play in New England. And he went as far to say that he would rather win his one Super Bowl and have fun and be able to say whatever he wants to the media than win 5 Super Bowls and be miserable. That is in the running for the worst take of the year. That might be the dumbest shit I've ever heard. I would rather win 1 Super Bowl and say what I want than 5, have 1 for the thumb, and be miserable. Now, no one in New England's miserable. These are the most successful players in the league as far as records concerned. How miserable can you be when you get, extra money in your salary every year for extra playoff games? How can you be so miserable? These are people that are successful. The Patriot Way. You can't say much. You're a little handcuffed as far as being able to say what you want, but I'll give that up for success. Would I rather win 5 Super Bowls and, have to keep everything close than being able to play for, the Lions and say whatever I want? That's not even a question. 1 Super Bowl or 5. It's a simple math problem, and I think Lane Johnson is a moron for saying this.
All right, I'm going to blow your mind right now.
Go ahead.
He's right.
He is wrong.
He's right. Here's how he's right. Yes.
Just to preface this take, this is coming from a man who has never watched one of his teams win a championship ever. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So that's why one is so valuable to him, but go ahead.
Which my team does have a Super Bowl.
You were not a fan at the time. Shall we get into your history of NFL team fandom?
Let's save that. Let's save that.
Check.
But here's how he's right. So and this isn't everybody, but as a football player, you have this platform. You have a limited career in terms of not just what you're able to do in terms of accomplishments, but the way you maximize that platform. And there are so many players who...
I'm going to bury you on this take. Keep going.
There are so many players who gotten to where they are not just necessarily because of their accomplishments, but because of their personalities. Mm-hmm. And I think part of where we are right now in the NFL is this idea of challenging these old kind of stereotypes of what sports is. And the NFL, more than any other, professional American sport, is that there's a sense of you do what you're told and not the sense of you as this athlete have this star power and the star ability to be like the NBA. The NBA is a star-driven league. What creates the popularity in the NBA are the athletes there, and not just what they do in terms of their athletic feats, but who they are as people. And that is not only stifled in New England, which, again, I think you do have the ability to dictate that, to say, all right, I'm going to be Tom Brady. I'm going to shut up my entire career. I'm not going to say anything controversial. And, I'm going to be rewarded.
And it's really hurt his brand having sponsorships with, Aston Martin and Rolex. Being quiet has really hurt his brand a lot.
Well, but you do see that coming ahead, and I know that you don't necessarily agree with it, but the Seth Wickersham story, the idea that all of it... So the main crux of that article is that... The main crux of that article...
You can say whatever you want now, because I'm not going to reference that article, because it's a complete pile of dog shit.
The main crux of that article is the schism that's there between Tom Brady and his TB12, yoga, I'm going to do downward dog, and I'm going to play till I'm 57.
Name another pose. Name another pose.
And Belichick in the Patriot Way, in the way that he has run his organization. And the whole credence that I gave to that article is that, of course, there's a schism there. Of course, when you're Tom Brady, you're a 6th-round pick. You were not a starter. You became a starter, and you've gone on to win 5 Super Bowls. That you kind of have a sense to yourself, like, no, you can't boss me around anymore. Like, I'm not little Tommy Brady, who was the 4th-string quarterback when I came in. Like, I am a superstar now. So, I mean, and shit, I mean, you saw that. Basically, and also another thing that article did was that said, Belichick wanted to move on from Tom Brady and wanted to start with the Jimmy Garoppolo era. Tom Brady went to Kraft and got in his ear, and Kraft came in to Bill and said, nah, you're not doing this. And shit, I mean, if you don't believe that scenario could have happened, you're in denial.
Well, I'm in denial. And I'm not going to mention anything about that article, about that garbage writer. So, what I will say, as far as my counter to your argument about star-driven leagues and your brand and everything, Rob Gronkowski, he might be the biggest star in the NFL. He plays for the Patriots. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. He does a celebrity cruise like every year. He is considering retiring from the NFL to go be a movie star or also go like wrestle in the WWE. So it's kind of a tough thing for you to say that, you know, we quell the stars and stuff when Rob Gronkowski literally might be the biggest star in the NFL.
Gronk's stardom isn't his like depth. It's his like, oh, see football, catch football, touchdown, spike football.
No, I don't know if that's true. I think Gronk's stardom is because he's just a good fucking time. And he has his good time while playing for the Patriots.
He's a lovable idiot.
You need to at least admit that it's
stardom.
tough for your argument that you're saying, you know, you can't really build your brand in New England when Gronkowski has like the biggest brand maybe in the NFL. That's a tough argument for you.
Well,
he has rap songs with David Ortiz about Dunkin' Donuts coffee. 87 cents.
The most that you can do.
87-cent coffee
that's
after
the most
Patriots
that you can
wins.
do as a Patriot.
He does everything. He literally does whatever he wants.
All right. So besides Tom Brady, and again, that's kind of a weird thing because that's finally coming out now, and Gronk, even though I don't think that's kind of the same argument. Who else? Okay,
so can you name me another team?
The biggest personality that's come to New England, again, minus the fact that he doesn't know how to read a playbook and he fizzled out that way. Look at when Chad Johnson came to the Patriots and just how miserable he was because he couldn't be a
because he couldn't read the playbook because he came from a playbook that was predicated on numbers and the Patriots was predicated on words. So he didn't know the playbook. That's why he was miserable. Let's talk about
what happened to Randy Moss.
What do you mean? What happened to Randy Moss? He had a great season, a great career.
What was the ending of that, though?
He had a very good fucking time. The ending of that, if we're talking about the ending, he just got inducted to the Hall of Fame. So
the ending of him leaving.
But how about you do this for me? You do this for me.
The Vikings.
Who's the biggest star on the Buccaneers? Name me like 4 stars on the Buccaneers. The biggest star on the Buccaneers doesn't even play on the fucking team. It's Miko Grimes.
Like Miko Grimes is more of a star than Jaymes.
Jameis Winston's only famous for like. We're not even going to get into Jameis Winston, why he's famous.
I mean,
because it's stealing stuff. It's all shit that you don't want to do. Grab her by the pussy, stealing stuff, allegedly raping people. So those are things that you don't want to really be a star for.
But at the same time, I don't know that the Buccaneers are a good example. This is a small market team.
It was just a team. I mean, I'm just giving you a team.
Okay,
give me somebody on the Chargers. Give me somebody on the Chargers.
But what about...
That's a big market. That's Los Angeles.
Giants? Look at the Giants and look at how stars... So that's an
So you have Odell.
Before him, Strahan, Lawrence Taylor, like...
We're talking currently.
But that's an example of an organization that has winning, but still allows its players to be stars, to be who they are. I mean, the fact that you have a Super Bowl commercial with Eli Manning in it...
Do you realize that you walk into mousetraps like constantly? Where is the winning in their past? Before the past...
The 2 Super Bowls they had over your team?
Besides those, what were the other 2?
With Lawrence Taylor?
With who, though? Who was running that team? Bill Belichick.
No.
Yep.
You saw in that...
So you just named the defense was the reason that they won the Super Bowls, right? No, so they won the Super Bowl because of the defense, right? Who was the defensive coordinator?
But no.
Oh, okay, that is tough.
That whole.
What about that '96 Ravens team that Bill Belichick put together?
If you watch the 30 for 30 on the two Bills, the takeaway that you get from that is that yes, Bill was a genius and he was a needed part for Parcells. But part of what Bill did was take the Parcells method, take everything that worked from Parcells and just did the same thing. Found the same type of athletes to go into that model in New England.
I have a question.
When he came to New England, the people who were on that team that went to the Super Bowl and lost, those are the same people who starred in his defense for the first three Patriots victories.
I have a question for you.
What's your question?
Has Bill Parcells ever won a Super Bowl without Bill Belichick? It's a yes or no.
Bill Parcells has had success everywhere he's gone.
Has he won a Super Bowl without Bill Belichick?
But
it's a yes or no.
Would Bill have won Super Bowls without the tutelage and what he learned from Bill Parcells? I mean, that's two ways that you can take that. I mean, all right, yeah, you can give me the whole he has more Super Bowls than him, and you can give me the whole, well, he didn't win without
7 to be
Bill, but
exact.
No.
So Bill Belichick has 7 and Bill Parcells has 2. And the 2 that he has are common Super Bowls.
He's the mentor. So he took what Parcells did and
I think you're giving Parcells
on it.
I don't know how we got on this topic, but I think you're giving Parcells way too much credit.
I think you're giving him too little credit. You can't say that he would have gotten to where he is without Parcells.
I don't think you could say the same thing about...
I'm agreeing with you that he may have taken what Parcells did and took it to another level, but
Parcells didn't get anywhere without Belichick.
But that's not... You can't make that connection.
I just did.
That's not a connection.
I just did.
No.
Before, pre-Belichick, 0 Super Bowls. Post-Belichick, 2. It's simple math.
Actually, even better. If anything, the whole fear-based... If you watch the 30 for 30, the whole fear-based model is from Parcells. Like, they talk about in that 30 for 30 how once Parcells became the head coach, because he was at first the defensive coordinator and Bill was the special teams coordinator, but he basically took Bill and was like, I want to teach you everything I know, which again goes back to my point that you can't necessarily make this connection that Belichick doesn't get to where he is without Parcells' tutelage, but they made it known. They made a point about it to say that part of Parcells coming into being a head coach was this change in his mentality that he couldn't be your friend and that he needed to do what was best for the team. And that's the exact definition of the Patriot Way and what Bill Belichick has done. And it's worked. The same way that it's worked for Parcells and that he's had success in every stop that he's been.
I don't know if that's true because I'm pretty sure he went to the Dolphins and they were garbage. So
look what he did. Did he have Quincy Carter on the Cowboys and he took that team to the playoffs?
Listen,
that team's been 8-8 since.
I'm pretty sure he went to the Dolphins and they were trash. Moving back to our original topic, you're just incorrect. Saying that you would rather have 1 Super Bowl than 5. That is bad math on your part. Seton Hall Prep in New Jersey should be ashamed of themselves because at Central Falls, I was taught that 5 is always greater than 1.
5 is greater than 1, but you don't have control over that. I mean, how many athletes are in the Hall of Fame in their careers and they never got a chance to win a Super Bowl? So, I mean... Yeah, I get that, but I don't think that those things connect. I think that, especially if Lane Johnson is saying that, for somebody to say that, I would rather win 1 and just really have these beautiful memories of this team that I had and had fun doing this, you're getting your head bashed in. There's CTE. So your whole career is just going to be like not having any fun.
No, so I think that's the loser mentality.
No fun and
one
CTE.
And enough. 1 Super Bowl is enough. That's a loser mentality. Quote Tom Brady, which one's the best one? The next one. Right? The best one is always the next one.